Another Cosby accuser comes forward. She's kept a secret about him for 3 decades. Does her story change everything? Let's get started. All right, joining us, I've got Charlotte Laws. She reported in Salon that she met Cosby through a friend back in 1980. That same friend, whom she calls Sandy, later told Charlotte that Cosby had drugged her and then had sex with her. Here's a quote from Sandy that Sandy, you put that Charlotte, you put from Sandy in your article. Quote, Bill drugged me last night, then had sex with me. I don't understand it. It's not like I would have said no to anything. Charlotte, fill this out for me. I read your article in Salon, and so she was someone who had a consensual relationship with him, so didn't understand why he would drug her. Is that right?
Right. I mean, it made no sense to her, and she was really pretty, sexually wild, and she was willing to go along with anything, and, it didn't make any sense.
Did she understand it or think of it as a rape, or did you even?
No, she didn't ever categorize it that way, and I never thought of it as sexual assault because she didn't categorize it that way, and I felt since she was the victim of the drugging, it was her decision to decide how to define it. Sure. And I also thought it was a one-off. I mean, I didn't think he was drugging other women. I mean, and she didn't either. I mean, that was not something that we anticipated at that time, and we thought, she thought it was intentional, but I thought maybe it was some kind of an accident. Maybe he had given her something that reacted in an unusual and unexpected way and had knocked her out. And, one time it happened and it would never happen again.
And people are struggling with why women are waiting so long to discuss this. Is that why you waited so long to bring this forward? It wasn't until you heard the other stories you thought maybe something is going on here? And as a second part to that question, you have described him, your relationship with him, as something very appealing.
Yeah, I mean, he was always respectful with me, caring, generous with his time. He never offered me a pill. I mean, I never saw that side of him. And so it's like these two different personalities. It was very hard for me to put that all together. But I didn't even think about coming forward until 2005 because I didn't think there was anything to come forward about. And in 2005 is when I heard the first woman came forward with her story, and I thought, oh my God, I can corroborate this. I know about this. I've known about this since 1981. There are other victims out there. And that's when I was in a quandary. I didn't know what to do. Should I come forward? Should I not? And I wasn't a victim myself. So I thought, should I really come forward? Because I'm not an actual victim. I'm just someone who knew about this for so many years. And then what happened is other women started coming forward to corroborate the first woman's story. And I thought, oh, I'm not needed. But I think that was a mistake. I think it's very important that people come forward and say what the truth is and not just assume someone else is going to take care of the problem.
And that's what I thought was so powerful when I read your article, Charlotte, was the fact that you said that it's never too late to come forward. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. But also, you saw Bill Cosby after, right? After that one incident in 2005. So how was your relationship post? Did you ever confront him about your girlfriend? Have you heard from him as of recent?
No, the last time I saw him was in 2005, and I had arrangements to go backstage with my family when he was performing in Oakland, California, and the allegation from the first woman had just surfaced. It was all over the news that particular day. And so that's when I was in this quandary. I mean, should I cancel? Should I go backstage? Should I confront him? Should I not? I didn't really know what to do. And when I walked in the dressing room, he said, did I ever drug you? So it was like a way for him to diffuse the tension of the news story and maybe also to test me to see what I was going to say to that, if I was going to say something about Sandy or not.
Wow. Charlotte, I'm going to ask you to stand by for a second. I'm back with Sam and our guest, writer Charlotte Laws. She reports that a friend of hers was drugged by Bill Cosby more than 30 years ago. But Charlotte, one of the things that I noticed, and put that tweet up I was showing you guys, people are struggling with why people have waited, why the women have waited until now. Is that tweet going to go up there by any chance? I'm going to read that to people. I've got it here. It's from a Sandra Zone. There she is. It says, Cosby allegations are absurd. Out of 15 women, no one had the courage to come out before the 30-year mark. Wow. That's the predominant criticism, Charlotte, I'm hearing. How can you help people understand that? You and I were talking about how the landscape for women coming forward has changed so much across those 30 years. It's almost hard for young people to understand.
It is. I mean, if you look at statistics, I saw one statistic that said that 95% of rape victims don't come forward. And the statistics are even worse when you're talking about someone being drugged, because their memories become quite hazy. And women are used to blaming themselves. They're used to, society looks at women like, oh, it's your own fault that you got raped.
Or you're tainted.
Yeah, you're tainted. That's how women feel oftentimes. They may feel it's their fault because they went to Bill Cosby's house or his suite. Maybe they took the pill.
Or in her case, she accepted money. Did that complicate how she was feeling about these things?
You know, I don't think so with her. I mean, she was not there for money. That was just something that was great. I mean, if he wants to give it to me, that's terrific. I never saw her as a money-motivated person. And at one point when she and I and Bill were in his dressing room at the Hilton in Las Vegas, he offered her $2,000 to grow her hair down to her waist. And then he turned to me and he said he would buy me $1,000 worth of clothing at my favorite clothing store if I helped her grow her hair down to her waist. And when we left the dressing room that night, I said, "Are you going to grow your hair?" And she goes, "No, I don't think so."
That sounds controlling. Is that some sort of a sign of control?
Well, we'll get the panel on here in a second. Charlotte, one last question, though. Do you have any sense why he might, if he did, in fact, drug these women, why he would have done so?
You know, I just have to assume that maybe he got excited over the idea of a woman being out. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, my experience with him, as I said earlier, is he was sweet and generous and charming, and I never saw that bad side of him. So it's really hard for me. It's incongruous to me as I'm trying to put all of this together with these two different personalities, and hearing what Sandy told me, hearing what the other victims say, and I completely believe them. You know, it all kind of doesn't go together for me, and it's very difficult. But I definitely feel it's important for people to come forward with the truth and discuss this issue. And I'm encouraged by the fact that if you talk to the rape hotlines right now, they'll say that since the Bill Cosby story has been so public, that people are calling and reporting rape. It's a 50% increase since this story went public in the last couple of weeks. So it's contributing to the conversation in America.
Now, Charlotte, stand by again. Thank you, by the way, for joining us tonight. I want to show my panel a fascinating interview we found from 1991. Bill Cosby was on CNN promoting a book. He tells an interesting story. Take a look.
Spanish fly was the thing that all boys from age 11 on up to death, we will still be searching for Spanish fly. And what was the old story was, if you took a little drop, it was on the head of a pin, and you put it in the drink.
Coca-Cola, doesn't matter.
It doesn't make it, and the girl would drink it, and
she sure.
Hello, America.
Bring in our Behavior Bureau, Judy, Eric, and Jennifer. Eric, I know you're trying to jump in while I was talking to Charlotte. He has this fascination with this magical potion that makes women altered. What do you think?
Yeah, no. Well, I think that was interesting that Charlotte brought up the hair thing, because that is immediately what jumped out at me at reading her wonderful article, in that he wants to manipulate. Not only did he go to her and ask her, "I want long hair on you," he went to the friend and offered money to the. That's very cunning, and that's something. I mean, there might even be some antisocial personality traits here that I don't know about, but it could be. So this is someone that really knew how to.
I don't think antisocial. There's never been any evidence of antisocial in here. And Jennifer,
well, but he seems to have no remorse for if this is true.
This could be
all these women are coming at him.
Yeah, it could be. Jennifer, what do you think?
I just want to say one other thing. Dr. Drew, something else bothers me. The fact of the matter is, women have been talking about this for decades, victims, and why is it that it took a male comedian to say something for this conversation to come up? That really bothers me.
Yeah, it bothers me too.
Why did we not listen to the women?
But you know what? We're at least we seem to be kind of listening now. Jennifer, you agree?
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, I'm heartbroken. I mean, I don't even know how else to say it, because I mean, I grew up on Cosby, and if it had not been for the Cosby Show, I think about that. You know, my husband and I were raising kids at the same time he was on television, so I have really struggled with this. I think most importantly, I think it's a wake-up call for celebrity sex and men with power and women who go along with. And I'm not saying that, I'm not accusing the victims, so don't blast me on Twitter. But what I am saying is, I don't know. I don't know that this this would be an issue if he wasn't a powerful person. And the fact that they were silenced for so long, it's because it is so unbelievable because of his power. I can't believe 12 women, no mothers, no brothers, no aunts, no uncles, no community, nobody that they could go to that would listen against this one man. He was not savior of the world. So I'm really disheartened by this whole situation.
And again, these are at this point still all allegations. This is not a legal matter. This is a public conversation about allegations. Judy, I saw you nodding your head a lot at what Charlotte was saying. Then I got to take a break.
Well, Dr. Drew, here's how I see it. You know, with somebody like Bill Cosby and other people who may be alleged rapists, they don't really have to have the sex that way. That's not really the point. He obviously can get sex whenever he wants. Charlotte's friend was somebody he was already in a relationship with sexually. So it's really about the power and the domination, feeling superior, and wanting to prove something. These are the characteristics that we know are common among rapists. And I know, again, this is just an allegation, but here's what I observed.
All right, next up, our most tweeted story of the day. Thank you, panel. Thank you, Charlotte.